And so tracking and monitoring your progress. And I'm just going to talk about myself. So, because I'm selfish. So I went into the warehouse today. We made some adjustments because I went in and I pretty much just go in there for the wholesale. Like I'm in there 1, 2 days a week max. Typically now, honestly, it's like 1 day a week. I'm in there for an hour and it's more or less like, hey, how you doing? What can I help you with? What needs to change? Blah, blah, blah. Like what issues you dealing with, right? And so the person that's currently putting in all the orders, they're also dealing, like putting the orders together, after the other guys put the gates together, built panels, like that kind of thing. What the issue she's having right now is that like she's doing computer work and then she's also doing like putting the orders together. So she's kind of split between two jobs at this point, right? And she's getting a little overwhelmed and like we're planning to grow this a little bit more. Nothing crazy while I'm gone, but like we're planning to grow. And so I said, why don't I get, well, first of all, I'm like, for why don't we try these clipboards for like Monday through Friday, which again, I will be reaching out to someone that actually does this shit on a daily basis so we can figure out what needs to happen, right? So we did that. And then I was talking to her a little bit more. And after that, I started talking to the other dude. And so I'm like, he's like, what orders am I building today? So then as soon as that happened, he's like, I'm like, I don't know. You got to go talk to Lydia, right? And so I'm like, okay, so this is another thing. And she's like, well, I'm not sure what orders would just put in, blah, blah, blah. So then she was going to have to stop what she was doing and then, take time out. It's just spreading herself, and then when you constantly start and stop stuff, it takes you like 10 times longer, right? So what we made the adjustment with that, I'm like, all right, let me show him how to use the program. I set up the laptop on and the new printer, which was a pain in the ass to get set up for some reason. But anyway, I showed them how to do that, right? And so I'm like, okay, Lydia, this is what we did. Now Leon's going in, he's checking it. And first they said, just that, 8 o'clock when they first got in. And then she's like, well, there's times where like I'm checking, in the morning, then I have to check again towards the end of the day because I'm not sure what stuff just got added. So I'm like, all right, Leon, I need you to check this at 8 a.m. and I need you to check this again at like noontime just to see what needs to be added, in case you need to put more orders together, get gates together, like that kind of stuff, right? So we did that. Along with that, we had an issue where we ran out of propane. And the reason, well, we had one tank left that was my own personal tank, not the rental tank. So we did that. And so I ended up having to call for that. And I tried getting it set on a weekly, but they wouldn't do it. So now I'm taking care of that myself. Was there anything else that I changed? There's a lot of changes within just a few short hours. So anyway, tracking and monitoring progress, right? So I make all these changes and the next week I'm going to basically go to Lydia, typically, without writing all this shit down. I say, Lydia, like, how's your week going? What can I help you out with? Blah, blah, blah. So now it's going to be, hey, Lydia, on last week we changed where now Leon is checking for the order. So that way they have that. We're going to update the order status so that way whether whether or not he got his orders. That's one thing I didn't talk about that we just added. And then we added, instead of having only 4 propane tanks, now we have 5 propane tanks. I'm going to be calling that shit on Monday or texting everybody, yo, how many tanks do you need swapped out? Because that's what the company needs to know. Was there anything else? No, that was it. So, Lydia, we made, A, B, and C changes. How did that work out for you, right? Oh, we're also adding, I wanted to add in more shelving because, like, when she puts the orders together, the hardware is not staying outside, it stays inside. And right now she just has it inside the doorway, which isn't organized, just doesn't look that great for me. So I'm sending Leon to go to the Home Depot to get those, the Metro, the wired shelving, the rolling ones. Because I'm like, we don't even know ultimately where this shit's going to go. So it doesn't make sense to put these shelves on the wall. It makes sense just to get these rolling shelves and you can just move them wherever you want. And then once we figure it out, then we can really mount everything if we choose to do it that way, right? So anyway, we're going to make those 3 changes. And then, so next week, I'm going to, like, when I talk to Lydia, it's like, hey, Lydia, we made this change where Leon is checking this on Monday and Wednesday, or, in the morning and in the afternoon. And then he is changing the status, so that way he actually has the order. How's that going? Is there any issues with that, right? And then from there, we'll make those adjustments. Same thing. Hey, Lydia, we got you these shelves. How's that working for you? Now with the metro shelving, you're able to adjust it up and down, right? So then I'll ask her, like, how's this working for you? She says, yeah, pretty good. And I say, well, are the heights good for you? Does this work for you? Do we need to adjust this? And then from there, we'll tweak that again. And then, whatever the next item is, like, Lydia, we're doing, this, we discussed this last week. Now, how's this working for you this week? Like, that a whole week of using it, how's it working out for you, right? And that way we can constantly check to see how we're doing. This is very relatable to like diet and exercise, right? Diet especially. If you do, the important thing is like that you're constantly tracking, recording the information and making adjustments off of that, right? So if I weigh myself this week and I'm 100 and so I weighed myself today actually, so I'm 173. And then last week I did the body fat, so I'll probably do that next week. But it's like tracking. It's like, okay, I did this, and then, I'm tracking my food every day, right? So because a lot of times we think one thing's happening, but in reality, something completely is different, especially when it comes to like eating the like nuts, right? So it's either I don't eat as many cashews as I normally do anymore, but like pistachios. I've been on a pistachio kick because they're like salt and vinegar. So that's easy. If you just grab a handful of them, chuck them in your mouth, you're like, oh, that was probably like one serving. So I was like, I don't know what the serving is, 180 calories, something like that. But like, if you grab the handful and actually weigh the number of grams is, it could be like 1.5 servings, right? So instead of being 180 calories, it's 270. Well, if you do that every single day just for that one thing, in the course of the week, you're looking at an extra 500 calories, which doesn't seem like that much. But within less than 2 months, you gained an extra pound because you weren't tracking it, right? And the same thing's for your business. I think that, not the thing, the hard thing for most owners, and myself included, like when I was actually physically running the fence company, it was a little bit of a, like, you're just trying to survive, right? But for me, it's easier now where I just go in there once a week and I see the things right away because I'm looking at the operations, right? Like we have to spend that day a week, or it's not even a day a week because that seems like you never had that much time. But it's really spending just a few minutes with, I did it with the driver came in for the delivery. Like, I'm like, oh, we're switching to this. And he's like, oh, that works. But just to let you know, this was happening, right? And it's kind of like those oh by the ways where they kind of are like too busy to really say anything about it, and not like the ship's not completely burning down, so they don't stop what they're doing. But it's important to like go to your people. I'm saying this to myself. I'm going to go to my people and say, hey, how's this working out for you, right? So anyway, hope this helps. Like I said, we see a lot of, I feel like after today, I'm going to see quite a bit of improvement for Lydia, and then I'll just reach out to her throughout the course of the week. Probably tomorrow. It's like, hey, how'd that work out for you with Leon checking his stuff today, right? And I'll do that for the next few days. And then when I see her next week, it's like, all right, so we've been doing this for a week. How's it been working? And if she says pretty good, the question is like, how can we make it better, right? Or what issues? And sometimes that's not the right question to ask, like how to make it better. Like, oh, I'm driving past. I did the last video where they were breaking the concrete. They're not even working right now. They walked away. Oh my God. Do you know how much they got done in 4 hours? They have like a 5x5 area. That's it. So make sure you have the right tools for the job. Make sure you're doing the things that you're really good at. Like, because otherwise you're going to be like these poor guys trying to break apart a concrete pad with a freaking bar and a sledgehammer. Shit's crazy. So anyway, hope this shit helps. I hope you guys have an awesome day. There might be another video. I don't know. One baby new now. See ya.